starting off a little softer, but that's all right. There it is. Man, I never get tired of Joel's voice. Jeez. Hate is easy, you gotta try and love yourself. I think that's what he said. I don't care what anybody says about Amity these days. I seriously love them so much. I know things are different with the departure of Aaron and not having him in the band anymore. And like, yes, his voice is significant and like very unique and very integral to like the sound of Amity Affliction that we've known for the last, I don't know how long it's been, 15, 20 years, however long they've been together. But listen, I know it's different. I know it's not the same, and you know the sound's going to change because we don't have Aaron anymore. But I will say, Jonathan Reeves joining this band, coming from Kingdom of Giants, I've been able to see him live once, at least once. I know for sure, maybe twice. But when I did see him, he is an incredible vocalist, and I think a very good partner and addition to Amity to kind of substitute the loss of Aaron. You know, at first I was a little hesitant because, like, of course, like I was in the same boat and was very like heartbroken that he had left and that they departed from him, because he is such an integral part of the band and such a unique sound, and like the Joel's and Aaron's voices, you know, together just make the sound of Amity, right? So I'm not going to argue with that. However, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, Amity's not the same. They're trash. They're blah, blah, blah. They're, you know, I've heard people say Aaron was the band and now Amity's nothing and blah, 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 blah. No. Things change. People change. Bands change. Members leave. Members add. You know, it happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But I do think that Jonathan is a very good addition to Amity and a very good vocalist to join together with the sound of Amity. You know, even myself, I was a little hesitant at first with the release of what was All That I Remember. You know, the first time I heard it, I was like, yeah, it was a good song, but I still don't know how I feel about it. And, you know, I had a very good friend of mine ask me my opinion on it and what I thought. And I was like, man, you know, like, I thought the song was good, but I just wasn't, I'm still coming around to having the new vocalist. And I asked him what his thoughts were, and he was like, dude, I love it. He had no hesitation. And he was like, dude, you just got to give it another listen and give it some time. And sure enough, I did. I gave it a few more listens, and then just the more I accepted the fact that Aaron is gone, and now that we have Jonathan, and that this is just Amity now, and that's the sound that we're gonna have, and we just got to come to terms and accept that. Like I said, things happen, things change, and that's life, man. Life changes, and it's not always fun. We don't always love it, but we're just gonna keep moving forward. And anyway, going back to the first song, All That I Remember, like my friend said, I gave it a few more listens, and then just when I came to accept the fact that he's gone and that this is the sound that we have, dude, I love it. I love that song. It's so good. His voice in the chorus is so just powerful. And I do think in this song, the chorus and maybe John's vocals in this, not that his vocals were bad or anything like that. He's a great vocalist. It was his vocals in the chorus maybe was a little underwhelming. I thought maybe there would be more. It would be just a little more powerful and hit me a little harder. Now, that's like my only critique on the song. I think the song is fantastic. I saw Joel put a post about it and how I think his mother recently passed away, which is unfortunate. However, it appears that they did not have a very good relationship with his mom. And so this song is like kind of addressing that, the relationship over the years and how it created a wedge and separation between him and his siblings. And now that she's gone, they can kind of hopefully come together. I think it was something along those lines. But yeah, overall, man, I do really like this song. It's a little softer, not as heavy hitting as the first release that we got from them. But I'm very excited to see what we get with this new album. It looks like it's coming out on April 24th. April 24th, looks like, House of Cards. This is the title track off of that album. I'm looking at the track list right now. It's a little... I don't love that the first release isn't on this album, but I get it, Fit for a King did the same thing with Keeping Secrets. Keeping Secrets from Fit for a King is by far my favorite song they've ever put out. I'm just going to throw that out there. And then when it wasn't on the album, I was like, oh, dang, that sucks. But I get it. It's a standalone single, and sometimes you just have those and they stand out above the rest, and that's okay. And then you get into the next album and they really go into the sound that they're wanting to get, and that's great. I mean, like I said with Fit for a King, after releasing that single was fantastic, man. It's one of my favorite albums of last year, and I seriously can't get enough of that one either. But anyway, back to Amity. They released All That I Remember, and now it's not going to be on this album, which is fine. I would love to see it on there, but it is what it is. However, this new release with House of Cards, the title track to get us ready for the release of this album coming up in April, does get me very excited. I would love to see just one other track off of this album. I'm eager to see the sound that we get from this upcoming album. And I mean, Joel's voice is incredible. His screams are very iconic. Amity Affliction is one of those bands that I just hold very near and dear to my heart. They were one of the first metal bands that I got into when I really started to listen to all of this kind of music. So here's my journey, my metalhead journey. Initially started with Linkin Park. Linkin Park was the first band I ever heard that had any kind of harsh, screaming hard rock vocals, and I've loved it ever since. Now, even then, it took me a long time to really get into and dive into all the different metal genres and metal bands that we get nowadays that I'm into now. Even back then, I mean, I discovered Linkin Park, I think it was in like 5th or 6th grade, and then I didn't listen to anybody else until A Day to Remember. A Day to Remember was the second band that I ever listened to that had screaming vocals. And honestly, A Day to Remember is probably like the first band that really had the heavy, harsh, screaming vocals, much more than we get from Chester. Rest in peace to Chester Bennington. He's one of the greatest vocalists that we will ever see. But the screams that we would get from Chester are very different from the screams that we get in today's metal music and with all the bands that I love nowadays. So I love A Day to Remember. They're my favorite band of all time. And then I discovered them, I think, 7th grade. And I didn't listen to anybody else until I was maybe 17, I think. I went to the Day to Remember, Bring Me the Horizon, Motionless in White. I love that show, but again, I didn't really listen to anybody else after that. It was a friend of mine showed me Amity Affliction and played Pittsburgh was the first song I ever heard from these guys, and that like really set in motion my taste for music now and just how much I genuinely love this genre of music. And I owe all of that to this band. They really truly are the ones that sparked the spider web of all the bands that I listen to nowadays in the journey that I've been on over the last few years. And that really just got me into the music, got me into the shows, the concerts, got me into the photography side of it. And I very fortunate enough to photograph Amity Affliction a few times. I think I've shot them twice now, and both times were fantastic, man. It's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Not just like them specifically, but shooting photos of concerts is my favorite thing I've ever done. And so shout out to Joel. He hooked me up with a photo pass on one of the last shows here in Detroit. And man, that was just so much fun. So thank you, Joel. Really, really do appreciate that. But yeah, I'm really loving the song. Let me know what you thought. I see a lot of mixed reviews about it, and quite honestly, I don't agree. I love it. I love it. I really do. It's maybe like here's all that I remember, and then this one's maybe like down here, but it's still great. It's still a great song, and it gets me excited for the album that's coming up, and I can't wait for it. There you go. There you have it. That is my reaction to Amity Affliction, House of Cards. Very excited for the new album. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what your thoughts are. How do you feel about the new vocalist? How do you feel about the loss of Aaron? Let me know what you think. I want to see some dialogue. Want to have some conversation, and let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.